Good day, my name is Cheong. My meeting number is 28458. Today, I want to introduction between the activity-based coaching (ABC) and conditional coaching. ABC is utilize more cost boost and the most cost device. Cost divide are the allocation criteria and if allocation the cost between different departments and sectors. ABC is more precise, and the number of cost couple allocation overhead costs could audits. For the transitional coding, unit level device assign cost to product. Cost unit level activity occur every time a service is performed or a product is made. How to review the actual costing effective relationship between indirect cost and individual. That's all for me. Thank you.
My name is Kiruan and now I will continue about the advantages of activity-based costing ABC. First advantages, accurate cost allocation. ABC allows for more accurate allocation of costs by identifying and assigning expenses to specified activities that drive those costs. It recognizes that a product or service consume resources differently, and it traces costs to those activities rather than using broad average. This leads to a more precise understanding of the cost drivers and their impact on the final product or service. First advantages, accurate cost allocation. ABC allows for more accurate allocation of costs by identifying and assigning expenses to specified activities that drive those costs. It recognizes that products or services consume resources differently, and it traces costs to this activity rather than using broad average. This leads to a more precise understanding of the cost driver and their impact on the final product or service. Second advantages, enhance decision making. ABC provides detailed insight into the cost behavior of various activities within an organization. With this information, manager can make informed decisions about pricing, product mix, process improvement, and also the resource allocation. ABC enable business to identify activities that are inefficient or unnecessary, leading to cost reduction opportunities. The next advantages, which is improved cost control. By analyzing the costs associated with each activity, ABC helps identify areas where costs can be reduced or eliminated. It enables organizations to focus on activities that add value and eliminate or streamline non-value-add activities. This improves cost control and efficiency within the organization. The last advantages, which is facilitates performance measurements. ABC provides a framework for measuring the performance of different activities within an organization. By assigning costs to activities, it becomes easier to track and evaluate the efficiency and effectiveness of each activity. This information is valuable for setting performance targets, identifying areas for improvement, and rewarding or incentivizing employees based on their contribution and value-add activity.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon. My name is MOHAMAD ZARFAN HAKIMI bin ZAINOL ABIDIN. Metric number 294591. I'm going to present the disadvantages of activity-based costing. Activity-based costing is a costing methodology that assigns costs to specific activities or processes based on their consumption of resources. While ABC has several advantages, it also has some disadvantages that are worth considering. Here are some of the disadvantages of activity-based costing. Implementing ABC requires significant time, effort, and resources. It involves identifying and tracking numerous activities, the cost drivers, and their relationships, which can be complex and challenging to establish. the implementation process can be costly, especially for organizations with large and diverse operations. ABC relies on detailed data collection, including the measurement of activities and the cost drivers. Gathering this data can be time-consuming and expensive, as it often requires the development and maintenance of new systems or processes. The cost of collecting and processing data may outweigh the benefits for smaller or less complex organizations. Selecting appropriate cost drivers for activities is a crucial step in ABC. However, determining the most accurate cost driver can be subjective and open to interpretation. Different individuals or departments may have different opinions on what constitutes an appropriate cost driver, leading to potential biases and inconsistencies in cost allocation. While ABC aims to allocate overhead costs more accurately than traditional costing methods, it can still encounter challenges in assigning costs to activities. Some costs, such as those related to shared resources or support functions, may be difficult to allocate accurately, leading to potential distortions in cost assignment and subsequent decision-making.
Traditional costing has long been the cornerstone of managerial accounting, enabling organizations to allocate costs to their products, services, and activities. This approach relies on a set of established principles and try and test techniques that have stood the test of time. Allow me to highlight some of the key advantages of traditional costing that continue to make it a valuable tool for businesses worldwide. The following are the advantages of traditional costing: simplicity, acceptance of familiarity, compliance, full cost recovery, exhaustion of fixed overheads, stability, cost comparisons, budgeting and planning, standard costing, cost allocation. Simplicity. The traditional costing system is relatively straightforward and easier to implement compared to more complex costing methods. It follows a simple approach of allocating overhead costs to products based on the predetermined overhead rates. Acceptance and familiarity. The traditional costing system has been widely used for a long time and is familiarized to many business and accountants. This makes it easier to understand and communicate cost information within the organization. Compliance. The traditional costing system aligns with generating asset accounting principles and is often required for external financial reporting purposes. It helps business comply with regulatory requirements and facilitate easy auditing. Full cost recovery. The traditional costing system ensures that all costs, both variable and fixed, are allocated to products. This means that the costs incurred for producing goods or services are fully recovered, ensure that the sales price includes all historical costs. Stability. Traditional costing provides stability in product costs over the short term. Since fixed costs are spread over the production values, fluctuations in production level do not significantly impact the cost per unit. Absorption of fixed overheads. The traditional costing system absorbs fixed overhead costs into the product cost, which helps in determining the selling price. This method is particularly useful when a significant portion of total cost is fixed and need to be allocated to products. Cost comparisons. The traditional costing system allows for easier cost comparisons across different periods of between different products. This can help identify trends, avoid cost control, measure and make informed decisions regarding pricing, production, and profitability. Budgeting and planning. Traditional costing is often used as a basis for budgeting and planning activities. By assigning costs to produce, it provides us frameworks for estimating future costs and revenues, facilitating effective budgeting and forecasting processes. Standard costing. The traditional costing system is commonly used in conjunction with standard costing, with predetermined cost standards are established for various cost elements. This allows for variance analysis, enabling business to identify inefficiency, measure performance, and take corrective actions. Cost allocations. The traditional costing system provides a systematic approach to allocate indirect costs to products of cost center. This helps in achieving a fairer and more accurate distribution of costs, avoiding cost subsidization among products and services.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor. So now I will talk about the disadvantages of traditional costing. So there are four the disadvantages of traditional costing. The first one is to not present non-financial information about small and medium enterprise. Secondly is use a single overhead pool. Thirdly, not relevant in such dynamically changing environment. And lastly, cost of sale representative engages in non-standard selling activity is sporadically exclusive from his or her performance review. Okay, the first one is do not present non-financial information about small and medium enterprise. As you know, traditional costing method supply insignificant data on elements that matter to customers such as quality and service. And the indirect cost of manufacturing product or providing service are not accounted for under this system. It only look at the overhead cost in general and ignoring the specific for the overall number. And because of this, some of business choose to employ ABC or activity-based costing when they believe there may be a room for cost cutting. And besides that, in order to properly account for all expense, the entity of company must analyze non-manufacturing costs and it must access to the wide range of costs connected with an offer of multiple goods and service. And the traditional costing system is unable to provide you with the information. And even though the computation are simple and the information is simple to share, business that sell a wide variety of goods are constrained by the general lack of data. Secondly, traditional costing uses a single overhead pool, and a single overhead pool, which is a collection of costs not specifically designated as a product, part price, or as a labor, is what is commonly used in the traditional based costing approach. And this would include costs for supplies and upkeep, and the payment of management salary and depreciation and others. Additionally, traditional costing methods demonstrate that only financial information is available, whereas non-financial information such as defect rates and throughput rate for each operation is outside of the scope of this system. And only after a product has been manufactured are the indirect expense allocate and reallocate at the product level. And at the work in progress stage, indirect cost distribution is done at random. And there is a requirement for degree of completion of work with precise indirect expense incurred under new manufacturing technologies. And this is not possible under traditional costing accounting system. Okay, thirdly, traditional costing not relevant in such dynamically changing environment due to their foundation on the long production run of the standard product with static specification. Traditional costing methodologies are irrelevant in such dynamically changing environments. For example, For the example, key uppers of activity-based costing had argued that activity-based costing offer more precise information on the activities and dealing the impact product cost in manufacturing environment categorized by production of the smaller lot size, high product mix, and frequent changeover. Besides that, due to the increased production of goods and competitiveness among business, a precise and accurate costing was required at this time. And lastly, cost of sales representative engaging in non-standard selling activities is frequently excluded from his or her performance review. And this presents a problem because the majority of the individuals would be convinced to maximize any performance requirement that were established. And where there are only few products being hit with modest overhead expense, traditional costing may be effective. And when attempting to look at the actual expense that an organization incurs, it does not provide the same accuracy. And without considering the true cost of such activity or how that will affect the firm's profitability, single output like sale volume or gross profit are achieved at the end. Okay, that's all from me. I will pass to the next person.
In conclusion, activity-based coaching is the often method made. This is because the method of measure cost and performance of activity and cost objects. ABC and traditional costs are equally competing product costing methods. Many medium and small companies which have the preference to utilize the traditional coaching method. Organizations need to study pros and cons of each coach method. There is no perfect method used, only the superb method used. That's all for us. Thank you.